Hey you guys, my name is Caroline and I work on the marketing team here at Marriage Helper. In my role, I typically work on email and our website to get people the resources they need. Dr. Beam and Kimberly have asked me to read a question that was submitted by one of our listeners. This person asks, how do you forgive yourself after your spouse had an affair? I'm dealing with my own actions that created the environment that helped the affair occur.
I actually admire the fact that you would take responsibility for whatever you have done that helped that situation occur, because that indicates a great deal of maturity. Only people who are okay with themselves can actually look at that rather than just blaming the other person for everything. So thank you for that wisdom. Thank you for that maturity. But be careful that in the process, you don't allow it to, in your mind, somehow justify what your spouse did. Because I'm sure that you have not been perfect. We've met no one who is perfect. And therefore, even though you might have done this wrong, that wrong, and the other wrong, and that really may have been a contributory factor or a series of contributory factors to your husband making the decision he made, it was his decision. So yes, take responsibility for whatever you did, but don't let that justify what he did. Now, Kimberly, when we talk about forgiveness, we typically say there are two things you have to do. One is you have to see the other person as flawed, human, not the devil personified, and that you have to decide not to seek vengeance against that person. Mm-hmm. But that same thing would be true, wouldn't it, in terms of my forgiving me, that I need to accept the fact that I'm a flawed person, that I'm not perfect, mm-hmm. and then I need to avoid trying to hurt myself, punish myself. Mm-hmm. Now, you're the psychologist. Help people understand what that means.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Self-punishment, that's how it's referred to in psychology, basically is the tendency to want to punish yourself, give yourself consequences for actions that you have taken. Now, it is never talked about positively in psychological literature.
So there's no real good value from that.
No. Mm-mm. It really only hinders mental, it really only hinders you from mentally being able to overcome a situation. And so in one example, it's part of a bigger concept in psychology of how a person leads themselves, so how they take care of themselves and they're able to overcome obstacles and look forward in situations. And the measurement of self-punishment as a subset of that is a negative. It will be what holds someone back. So there's probably a lot of correlation between self-punishment and low self-esteem. I actually don't know if there's research on that. That's interesting. I haven't thought about that. But the bottom line is you're never going to guilt or shame yourself into being a better person or wanting to be better or seeing yourself as positive. Instead, if you really want to look at the components of self-worth, in the literature it's referred to as the contingencies of self-worth, then those are going to be things like family support. Those are going to be things like, even interestingly in the literature, God's love, academic achievement, friendship. So what we can boil all that down to say is the things that are going to help you move forward and accept yourself in anything you've done and really increase your feelings of self-worth are going to be, are you surrounded by people who care about you? Are you intentionally pouring into those relationships? Are you doing things to help you learn and better yourself? What we talk about is with the pies. Mm-hmm. The pies concept actually really, really correlates with what the contingencies of self-worth are. Except there's a couple of other things like competition that we don't necessarily include in pies, but we won't get into that. So the bottom line of it is, don't try and beat yourself into forgiving yourself or feeling better. Focus on becoming the best you that you can be through working on physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual attraction.
Mm. So you really, if you're going to get past this, you need to accept that whatever you did, you did. You have no time machine. You can't go back. You can't change it. Nor do you need to be punished for it. Even if that's just you sitting around thinking, oh my goodness, if only I had done that, if only I had done that, if only I had changed that and done that differently, because that can be a form of self-punishment as well, right? trying to look back and second guess yourself for all those things you did. In other words, accept, I did what I did. I'm a flawed human being. I forgive me because of the fact that I'm not thinking backwards, I'm thinking toward the future. I will learn from whatever I did wrong, but my goal is to become the best me that I can be. Kimberly, how do they get to your podcast about pies?
Yeah. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, like where you're probably listening to this one, unless you're watching it on YouTube, you can find It Starts with Attraction. So you can either go to Google, type in It Starts with Attraction, or any podcast player, and you will find all of the episodes.
And that's where you talk about how people can become the best they can be physically, intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. So it's a very individual focused podcast. The Relationship Radio, the one we're doing right now, really talks about marriages. And in my podcast, I'm really talking about you becoming your best individual self. Sometimes we talk about different aspects of relationship, but it's not going to be about marriage. It's going to be different. It's completely different topics that I talk about on my podcast.
Okay. So stop the negative self-talk. I'm no good, I'm bad, I'm terrible. Remember, we've already talked about how that programs people. Stop thinking like that. If you think about it at all, like, okay, maybe he was a nag and kept after him all the time to the where he never wanted to come home because I always presented problems to him. All right, you've learned that that's not the best way to do it. Don't beat yourself up about it anymore. Go forward. Oh, I should have been more willing to have sex with my husband more often. Okay, if that's the case and you feel that that was an error, then it's like, I've learned better. I can do different than that now. So don't focus on the past. Don't beat yourself up. Focus on the future. Kimberly, is there anything else that we can help them with here?
Yes, for sure. Of course, the workshops that we do, and I know we talk about them a lot, but it's because we really believe in them. And especially on Sunday afternoons when we have this conversation about forgiveness and reconciliation, so many people walk away with a new hope that maybe forgiveness can happen when they thought before, I could never forgive, even forgiving themselves for things that they've done. And so it really is helpful to be able to learn that and to have someone, if needed, walk with you through that, such as one of our coaches and things like that. And yes, so I would recommend if the soil in the marriage is ready to get to a couples workshop, to do that. But even if it's not yet, then our solo spouse workshop and the Save My Marriage immersive experience that we have can already help that person start this process to realizing what they can take ownership of, how they can begin to make things better and begin to move forward with a new hope.
Can you tell just a little bit more, when we're almost out of time, about the Save My Marriage
immersive experience? Yes.
I started to say submersive, not the right word. Immersive experience.
I like it. You go scuba diving first. So yes, it is the best of what we have to offer for the person who is standing for their marriage or just wanting to become a better spouse in their marriage. And it has the Save My Marriage online course that we have had for 5 or 6 years now. And it includes a ticket, so to say, to the solo spouse workshop, the 3-day workshop that we have for the solo spouse. So it's every best tool we have for that solo spouse to save their marriage and begin to save their marriage. I mean, there's no other way to put it. We have seen marriages saved from the one spouse beginning to work on things.
Absolutely. And so if you go to marriagehelper.com, marriagehelper.com, and if you click the workshops tab, they can find out about this there, or at least they can fill out a contact form and one of our client representatives.
Absolutely.